General Hospital spoilers for Wednesday, August 26th. Let us take a very quick look at where the pieces are currently standing on the board. We have Rick Lansing letting his insecurities run wild as he watches Elizabeth and Dante grow closer, completely ignoring Lulu's warnings to focus on his own stability rather than his jealousy. Over in the corporate world, Jocelyn has unexpectedly taken the CEO position at Jax's company, brushing off Hudson's intense inquiries by claiming she is just honoring her father's legacy. At the Metro Court pool, Jason is trying to ease Carly's immense fears about Jocelyn's safety, pointing out that Carly's fierce protection is an advantage Anna never had during her spy days. Meanwhile, Liesl is desperately warning Britt to back off from her investigation into Cassius and the WSB, terrified of the debt her daughter might incur. In the shadows, Anna is silently suffering from dangerous hallucinations of Peter, hiding her deteriorating mental state from Valentine. Finally, Lucas and Joe are attempting to navigate a new temporary living arrangement, hoping it will be a simple solution to their housing issue. But this is just the starting line, guys. The real game is about to begin. This could lead to a scenario where Jocelyn's corporate cover becomes the most dangerous trap she has ever walked into. We know she is using the CEO position as a front for a highly classified WSB mission. But what if Hudson is not just a curious businessman asking harmless questions? What if Hudson is the actual target of her investigation, a ruthless operative who is already onto her game? If you look at who benefits here, it is clearly Z and the WSB. They get a pristine, unsuspected undercover agent embedded right at the top of the corporate food chain, taking all the risks while they pull the strings from a safe distance. But who is in extreme danger? Jocelyn is standing on a landmine, and the catalyst for her downfall might actually be the very thing Jason believes is her greatest strength, Carly. Jason told Carly that her unwavering, fierce protection gives Jocelyn an edge that Anna never had during her early WSB days. But what happens next may be the exact opposite of what Jason predicted. Carly cannot sit on the sidelines when her children are in danger. It is simply not in her DNA. There is a massive chance that Carly, acting on her maternal instincts, decides to do her own digging into Hudson to ensure Jocelyn is safe. By interfering, Carly could inadvertently blow Jocelyn's carefully constructed cover. Imagine a scenario where Hudson's dangerous connections realize Jocelyn is a spy simply because Carly asked the wrong questions to the wrong people in Port Charles. This changes the entire dynamic of the narrative. Instead of Carly being Jocelyn's shield, she becomes the liability that gets Jocelyn captured. The story could be heading toward a brutal hostage situation where Jason and Valentine have to extract Jocelyn from Hudson's syndicate, proving to Carly that the WSB world is far too deadly for a mother's intervention. This path would force Jocelyn to choose between her loyalty to the agency and her family's safety, forever altering her trajectory. Looking ahead, we have to consider a completely different future. One that is not just a minor variation, but a path that alters the entire landscape of Port Charles. The bigger consequence may be tied directly to Anna's silence and her fractured psyche. Anna is keeping her terrifying hallucinations of Peter a secret, even from Valentine, the one person who might understand the psychological warfare she is enduring. She might think she is protecting him, or maybe she is just deeply confused, but this silence is a ticking time bomb waiting to decimate her life. What if Peter's ghostly manipulations convince Anna that Britt is actually a threat to the WSB's delicate operations? Liesl explicitly warned Britt not to owe the WSB any favors, knowing exactly how ruthless and unforgiving the agency can be. Britt, however, is determined to push forward with her investigation into Cassius, believing that Anna will help her uncover the truth. But if that happens, Anna, guided by the sinister whispers of Peter's hallucination, might lead Britt straight into a WSB trap. This would change everything. Valentine would suddenly find himself caught in an impossible crossfire. Does he stand by the woman he loves, who is clearly losing her grip on reality and acting as an agent of destruction? Or does he side with Liesl and Britt, fighting against the very agency he just made a deal with? This future paints Anna not as the heroic police chief, but as the unwitting villain of the next major arc, manipulated by her deepest traumas to destroy the people who are just looking for the truth about Cassius. It would be a tragic downfall for Anna, forcing her to confront the fact that she has become a danger to her own allies. The fallout would ripple through the police department, the WSB, and the Cassadine family, leaving scars that might never fully heal. Now, let us explore a third future. And guys, this is the wildest possibility. The one that almost no one is looking at right now. We have Rick Lansing spiraling with jealousy over Dante and Elizabeth. We also have Lucas and Joe moving in together in a seemingly innocent domestic arrangement. But how do these seemingly unrelated threads connect? Joe is a detective. Dante is a detective. Rick is a master manipulator who knows exactly how to exploit legal and police channels to get what he wants without leaving fingerprints. There is a chance that Rick decides to use this new living arrangement to his advantage. What if Rick orchestrates a scenario where Joe inadvertently uncovers fabricated evidence against Dante? Rick could plant something in Joe's orbit, perhaps inside the apartment he shares with Lucas, knowing that Joe, being a righteous cop, will feel obligated to report it. Lucas, being connected to everyone in town, would be caught in the middle of a massive professional and personal scandal. This would effectively drive a wedge between Dante and Elizabeth as the stress of an internal affairs investigation takes its toll. It is a brilliant, underhanded move. Rick would not have to get his hands dirty directly. He would just use the proximity of Lucas and Joe to detonate a bomb in Dante's life. This unexpected path turns a simple roommate storyline into a high-stakes game of sabotage, proving that in Port Charles, even the most mundane domestic shifts can be weaponized by a jealous ex. It would force Lulu to step in, realizing that her warnings to Rick fell on deaf ears. And she might have to team up with Lucas to expose Rick's machinations before Dante loses his career and his relationship with Elizabeth. If you ask me, we have to look at the psychological foundations of these characters to see where the story is truly heading. The path that feels most likely is a devastating collision between Jocelyn's WSB secrets and Anna's mental collapse. I keep coming back to the idea that the WSB is the ultimate puppet master in all of these seemingly disconnected threads. The agency is the dark cloud hanging over everyone's future. Jocelyn thinks she is playing Hudson, but she is actually playing with fire, manipulated by Z into taking risks she does not fully understand. Anna thinks she is managing her trauma by keeping quiet, but she is being consumed by it, and the WSB is likely monitoring her every move, waiting to see if she snaps. I believe we are marching toward a massive WSB-centric war. The WSB is using Jocelyn as bait, and they are fully aware that Anna is compromised, yet they are letting her operate anyway. Why? Because a compromised Anna and an inexperienced Jocelyn make the perfect fall guys for whatever grand conspiracy Z is really planning behind the scenes. It makes the most sense that Carly's interference will be the spark that ignites this powder keg. When Carly realizes the WSB is hanging both her daughter and her best friend out to dry, the wrath she unleashes will be unprecedented, dragging Jason and Valentine right into the line of fire. If that scenario happens, what comes after the dust settles? The bigger consequence may be the complete dismantling of the WSB as we know it. We are not just talking about a few rogue agents being fired. We are talking about a systemic collapse caused by the people of Port Charles. If Carly, Jason, Valentine, and a vengeful Liesel Obrecht all realize that the agency has been manipulating their loved ones, using Jocelyn's youth, exploiting Anna's hallucinations, and covering up the truth about Cassius, they will not just try to rescue their people. They will go to war. What happens next may be a massive alliance between former enemies. Imagine Sonny's organization, Jason's tactical brilliance, Valentine's espionage resources, and Liesel's ruthless scientific mind, all uniting with one single goal, to burn the WSB to the ground. The story could be heading toward a global conflict where Port Charles is no longer just a city of mobsters and doctors, but the epicenter of an intelligence war. If Jocelyn gets burned by her undercover mission with Hudson, and if Anna completely breaks down due to Peter's lingering psychological poison, the fallout will not be contained. It will force every single character to choose a side. Will Lucas and Joe's relationship survive the strain of a city at war with a federal agency? Will Rick use the chaos to further isolate Elizabeth, or will he realize the danger is too great even for his petty jealousy? The future is not just about who is dating who or who holds the CEO title at a corporation. It is about survival. The seeds being planted right now, the quiet conversations at the pool, the whispered warnings in the hospital corridors, the hidden ghosts in the mirror are going to grow into a storyline that changes the fabric of this show forever. And I have a feeling the casualties are going to be massive. Keep your eyes open, guys, because the future of Port Charles is looking incredibly dangerous.
Goodbye. Please like, subscribe, and comment on the GH Spoilers Daily channel.